Defender 2222's The Crisis of Infinite Twilights, Chapter 5, Meet the Apples.
Last time we left our heroes, they had found the whereabouts of one of the alternate Twilights from the depths of the dread Everfree Forest. She was called Tricora, a Twilight whose father had been the ambassador of Zabrika. Training under Sakura, the Princess of Zabrika, and one of her most powerful mystics, Tricora adopted the name and markings of the zebra to honor her mentor. With the first of many Twilights secured, Skulu, only with her advisor Agent Coulson, young baby dragon Spike, and Tricora, makes her way towards Three Apple Acres, where she ascends the next Twilight.
Excuse me, Skulu called out to the strange pony standing in the side of the road.
Yes?
What are you doing?
Narrating, of course.
Skulu stared at him confused. Okay, great. Next question. Why? There's something that I wish to be made clear. What has brought you here? Tricora asked, adjusting her cloak and making sure her hood was covering her face.
And how do you know who we are? Coulson said suspiciously, preparing himself for a sneak attack.
And can you tell me how to get to Sesame Street? Spike asked, pounding a fist to his open hand. Me and that big yellow bird have some unfinished business.
I am here because I was called here, for I am Plot-Up, the narrator, and I go where heroes are, so I might narrate their quests, give out exposition, and make long spans of time go by quickly with just a few words.
I thought we just ignore this and keep going, Skulu said. Tricora nodded. Of this I can agree. This is weird, even for me.
Having just rested for a moment to gather their strength, the merry band of travelers continue their way, not knowing what dangers may lay.
Just ignore him and walk faster, Coulson said, hurrying the group along. After leaving Plot-Up in their wake, the foursome turned off the highly trafficked path and began walking down the long dust road that led to Sweet Apple Acres. Skulu can't help but smile as he breathed in deeply the fresh scent of apples and hard-boiled bark. There was something about Sweet Apple Acres that uplifted one's spirits and made them want to smile. Unless one was allergic to apples or their father had been raped by an ant. But enough about Lyra's backstory! Coulson looked around and smiled to himself. Sure is. Spike clapped that smiling style shut. No! Everyone turned to stare at him, and the baby dragon began to rapidly sink its head. Don't say anything positive! I had to wonder why. This is a wonderful field under a great blue. Spike reached over his hand and shut Tricora's mouth. Would you stop that? Skulu complained. Only if they would stop trying to jinx us! Coulson pulled away and guarded the dragon.
What are you talking about? What jinx? His face screwed up in confusion. And why does your hand smell like caramel?
Spike glanced about letting it go to Tricora's mouth. Haven't any of you seen a horror movie? Whenever something about how nice or peaceful a place is, that's when the killer, semi-dead, saw-wielding lunatic, leaps forth and kills everyone in a blood spatter, 13 spectacular gore! Ah! The force looked back in fright as a small purple form burst out of Coulson's saddlebag, looking around with wide eyes. Landing on her feet, the filly turned her horn about, looking for the mean that was laying in wait to slash and grab her. Twilight? Yeah, that's right, Twilight! Twilight the Vampire Slayer! King Mark Evil Mass Murderer Supper! Yeah! The purple filly went around and paused, tilting her head to the side. Skilla? As I stand here on this sod, a little me is really quite odd, Tricora said, circling the purple filly. Aw, not raining, Twilight complained, her annoyance, forgetting all about the monsters he wanted to fight. Can't stand raining. Everyone spent 2 weeks riding after she met Sakura. A cat on a mat, solid bat. Bah! Felt like I was stuck in a kitty book.
Coulson stomped forward, laying down to glare at the filly. Why are you here?
If Twilight noticed the anger that colored each of the agent's words, she didn't show it. Well, I heard Mom and Dad say they were sending you on a super secret Twilight mission. I knew I needed to come because, hey, I'm a Twilight, so who better to help on a Twilight mission? I called it to your saddlebag and began reading this book. She got to Coulson's head and happily tried down his neck to the saddlebag, rummaging through until she found her book and tossed it to Skulu. I am Equestria, and so can you by Iron Will? Skulu said, pressing the tongue against the side of her cheek. Twilight nodded happily. It's full of tripleness. Anyway, I read some of the book, and then I got hungry, so I ate some of those jelly beans in your bag.
What jelly? Those were dehydrated food pills! You just ate a week's supply of food!
Twilight blinked. Keep my food guards here! She did take her blanket aside. Nothing. Cute. The purple filly looked up to Tricora's back and began to inspect the mohawk mane. Then I fell asleep, and when I woke up, I heard you guys talking about scary killer guys, so I got that! Why are you half black? If you wish to not receive an attack, do not ask strange ponies why they are back. Tricora raced around, pulled Twilight from her back, setting the filly on the ground. Okay, but you are still kind of silly. Are you without me? You look like me, except I don't have stripes. Don't I get stripes? Can I get spots instead? Or bow tie? Bow ties are cool. A bow tie and a fence. Or we can all get mousy bow ties and...
Thank you, Spike.
Coulson says the baby dragon held Twilight's mouth shut, and the filly suddenly wondered why his hands smelled like caramel.
Now then, it appears I need to send a letter to your father before he sends the National Guard out to rescue you.
Twilight freed herself, shaking her head. But Spike finally let go of Twilight and whipped around and jabbed her stubby arm out. No means no, Spike! She spun around. Coulson, you don't have to send a note. I got one before we left. Nightlight stared at the note tip and looked on Twilight's bread, and an eyebrow raised in confusion.
Gone crusading, Twilight. Somehow I doubt that will alleviate their concerns,
Coulson said dryly as he approached the Apple family's farmhouse. It will too, Twilight complained, sticking out her tongue when she thought Coulson wasn't looking. Any point? Oh, boss, Celestia, not more of them! Granny Smith ran out of her house, swinging a broom at Twicora and Twilight. The steeple-marked mare pulled out her oak staff, blocked each of Gray's shots, holding back just enough to ensure she didn't actually hurt the old mare. Granny was surprisingly spry when she needed to be, twisted around and hurried back up to the porch, pointing the broom handle out. I'll take it down, you no good clothes! Granny Smith! Granny Smith lifted in the air, firing a battle cry, only land 3 feet short of the group. Take it! Granny shut up and run to play. He's all but woman's ain't what they used to be. Twicora placed her staff on her back. Please, Granny, sit for just a spell. Now I will ask, what the hell? That was awesome! Chloe screamed considerately. You're all super secret agent cool. There. He was a spy. My daddy's a spy. Mr. Coulson here is also a spy. But he's as cool as my daddy. And then she ran around wearing pink wigs and fought down at the SD6. I could totally be a spy when I grow up. And guess what my junior will be? Twilight grabbed Skulu and began to seek her. We need to find out now, Skulu. Can you mark secret agent police? Yeah! Skulu wiggled her ears. Tell me I'm not like that when I get excited.
Spike merely smirked. Granny Smith, Coulson said, trying over to the mare. I am assuming your accent's here, that there is a Twilight Sparkle around here causing trouble?
Eh? Trouble? He's doing more than that. This horror is trying to bend our grandson.
What?
The group screamed. Even Twicora, though she had to quickly come up with a rhyme afterwards. Welcome to Screaming a Blessing. I'll admit I'm a bit happy with it. I was beginning to think old Mac was as gay as the night song. There ain't anything wrong with it, mind you. But I like to have some great grandbabies that actually look like us. My afraid sweet Pickle's granddaughter's ski, and they ended up adopting some tiger cub from the east. Green, where's this Twilight that's trying to, bed, Big Megatus? Skula said, wondering the entire time she was a bit too young for all this. Eh? I don't really know. Bug Mac even ran down screaming something fierce and bounced out to Twilight. Though I guess she ain't our Twilight. She got one striped one and a baby one here too. Not baby! Twilight cried out in anger. I'll prove it. That big Twilight could beg big Mr. McIntosh then suck it on! Twilight paused, looking over to Spike. What's that mean? When two ponies love each other very much. Granny nodded her head. Never mind. Maybe out in the orchard. Just follow the screens and you'll find them.
Thank you, Mrs. Apple, Coulson said, hurrying down to the farmhouse with Twicora, Skulu, and Spike on his hose.
That's all right, Granny said, stopping to Philly, her voice taking a serious, deadly tone. Who done told you about the SD6?
By the princesses, not more of them! Applesack exclaimed, spun Spike Twicora facing towards her.
She turned towards the only two she recognized in the group and leaned down, eyes narrowed. Spike! Skulu! My tell me what happened. Skulu reached into her saddlebag. Here's the pamphlet. Applejack stared at said pamphlet, which features 10 Twilights on the front, and the title, Twilight has been shattered into many pieces, and the question is being invaded by her alternate dimensional selves. An FAQ. Well, darn Larson. After that whole thing with Skulu's origins, I decided this would be quicker, Spike said with a proud smile. Applejack scratched her head. Well, I think y'all would be lying to me, but it is in a pamphlet. Applejack! Applejack called out, dragging an empty wire bucket behind her. I need to get more cold water. That last bat didn't stop her one bit. Spikecore raised her eyebrow at this. In our group, you must place your trust. Tell me about this twilight so full of lust. It ain't lust! A voice called out. The group turned to the south, staring at the newest twilight. The first thing they all noticed was that this twilight, while having the same lavender coat and purple hair, dressed and acted different from their twilight in every single possible way. She wore a cowboy hat that was similar to AJ's, only darker in color, and also had a matching vest. Her mane, which was much longer than Twilight and Tricoris, and Dale were tied up nicely. On her flank, instead of Twilight's starburst curie mark, something Tricora had at the very least, was the image of a Zap apple. Oh, gee, here I thought that this was the Twilight from Wand of a Nail. Yes, I refer to my other fix repeatedly. What of it? I say this cannot be, Tricora seemed shocked. In her, there is not a drop of magic to see. The new Twilight glared at the striped mystic. You ain't that polite, are you? Didn't your mama teach you all ain't polite to talk about places they weren't there? I ain't talking about your straps. The new Twilight removed her hat, and the group gasped. This Twilight didn't have a horn. The patch of forehead where it should have been was completely smooth. Light, that ain't possible, Applejack whispered. It is, Coulson said somberly. In another place in another dimension. Isn't that right, Twilight? Twilight frowned. Fella, I don't know who this Twilight hole mare y'all keep confusing me with is, but she ain't me. His name is Sap Apple Delight, and I wish y'all stop acting like you don't know me. The cowboy walked over to the apple tree and gave it a solid buck, sending a cascade of apples raining down into waiting buckets. Applejack couldn't be helped but impressed. Y'all can't tell me some la-la unicorn could buck apples like that. Nope! Everyone looked up at Big Macintosh, who was clinging at the high branches of the tree Sap Apple had just bucked. His eyes were wide with fear and was holding on to the tree for dear life. Come on down, Mac, Sap Apple said sweetly. I ain't even got my morning kiss yet. How's this possible? Sylvia whispered. I get Twicora and Twilight here, too. But her play Twilight? Coulson sighed. It's possible due to genetics. Have you ever met a unicorn whose parents didn't have horns? Yeah, Spike nodded. The filly, what's her name? Dinky, Scootaloo provided. Her mom is a Pegasus, and her dad's an Earth pony. Time Lord, Spike added. Whatever. Coulson rolled his eyes. Right. But somewhere in their family trees they had unicorn. That's why Dinky has a horn. Spike frowned. Is that why the Cake Twins? Abstract coughed something about swingers and tears, but Spike couldn't make heads or tails of that. There are some unicorn families, Coulson continued. A few such genetic abnormalities in a poor light. About 100 years ago, it wouldn't be uncommon for Camelot families to abandon foals who were born without horns, unless they bring the same to the family. I didn't, Grace said in frustration. I am talking to you about the princess without that one back in the day. That's why it has to be illegal. You talked to the princess? Scootaloo said in surprise. Thanks, man. We have a weekly bingo night. So you think this Twilight? Scootaloo began. Once Zap Apple began to try to coax Big Mac down. If I have to guess, I say her parents abandoned her when she was born. The Apple family adopted her. In her world, she is married to Big Macintosh and does work here at Sweet Apple Acres. Twilight huffed an anchor. What do you mean Daddy wouldn't do that? So he went over to Sap Apple and began kicking her as hard as he could. Stop letting out, Big Me! Sap Apple coolly lowered her head and grabbed Swarmy Philly by the nape of her neck. Lifting her up and tossing her back at Twycora. Now, y'all, listen here, y'all. I know Pub know what's going on, but I'm getting sick of it. I want answers now. Excuse us. Skulu's group, the Apple family, and Zap Apple all turned to focus on the speaker. Oh, Lord, not you two varmints! Applejack complained to sight of Flim and Flam, the famous Flim Flam brothers. Well, get! We don't want what you're stealing! Zap Apple frowned. I tell you, what the hey? That's no way to talk to our business partners. Applejack looked around. Our what? Our business partners. Remember, they invented the cider squeezer. Apple Bloom helped them improve the design. For goodness sake, you went on a date with Flam last week. Have you gone crazy? Ah, bleh, bleh. Applejack's eyes rolled back in her forehead as he fainted. Did I get my gear mark for helping them? Apple Bloom asked. Let's assure you, we are not here to harm you or your family. We merely wish to give this letter to you and the other pieces of Twilight to deliver a message to Miss Skulu and her spite from her former employer. Skulu frowned. Who's the employer? She asked his swimming plan, took out a pitch whistle, and blew into it. Sunk you! Nightfall, 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 nightfall. She gals across the nation, that evil Marison. She's cooking up her final plan, so stop butting in. But if you refuse to listen, then the games will begin. A hard crime is so forced, you must happen will of course. Nightfall, nightfall, nightfall. She's bad. The evil League of Twilight is watching, so beware. This little warning will be your only we swear. So make her dear Nightfall gleeful, or she'll make you your mayor. I'm already a mayor, so I will be. I think she means it a different way. Just give up, be your doll, or she will call you Say Nightfall. With that, the two Unicorn Brothers bowed and rushed away. That's the greatest thing ever! Anytime you give me a chance to sing a Dr. Horrible song, I'm happy. Greatest story. Done. Okay, so maybe I nabbed some of Granny's moonshine. I swear I'll never drink again. Twilight's eyes went wide. Oh no! Don't worry, I'm sure it'll be fine, Spike said. No, not that. I think those jellybeans. Oh, uh-oh. Twilight ran towards the farmhouse. I hope I don't get my kitty ready for this! Next chapter, Canterlot! It had taken Skidoo, Spike, and Ace and Coulson nearly 2 days to get Zap Apple to finally agree to come with them back to Canterlot. The first day had been dedicated to explaining to the farm pony exactly what had happened, why none of her family recognized her. Zap Apple had equated it all to, at first, a practical joke the rest of the ponies were pulling on her. Finding, though, that too many things had changed, including the haphazardly laid out tree lines, apparently, even when she lacked magic and grew up with an apple family, a Twilight could be anal retentive. A Twilight's a Twilight. I convinced her that something was up. She had reasoned next that it was that no good, low down sneak Discord. But Coulson calmly pulled out his Discord detector, patent pending, and showed that at that moment Discord was busy enjoying Facet Week in Prince. Look at the way that desire used silk to draw attention to the neck, Discord told Fancy Pants. Yes, not just splash the color to the hem. What? Gods of Chaos could go on vacation too. You know, I say that line. And while it is in the text of the story, considering my usual commentary here and there, I can say that line. You guys have no idea if that was in the story or not. They had finally got into her head that first night she had ended up in another dimension. School wasn't exactly sure how Applejack did, as she lost the orange mare when she had begun pressing two apples together while rattling off the winning-losing streak of the Detroit Tigers over the last 10 years. It really didn't matter, though, as in the end, Zap Apple had apologized to Big Mac for attempting to give him 5 hours of pleasure that would leave the lesser stallions trembling on the floor, whimpering and begging for bananas. Big Macintosh had blinked and excused himself from the gathering so he might curse his own stupidity without Applebloom hearing. This was foolish, as Applebloom probably knew more swear words than her siblings, thanks to that exchange student whose mother had Tourette's. They all had agreed to head out bright and early the next morning, only for Spike to casually mention that they'd make it to Caroline by lunchtime to catch the train. Sap Apple narrowed her eyes, called him a no-good ribber-rop, whatever that means, stormed off, screaming to anyone that would listen that she would never be caught in Caroline. Thus, their second date was wasted trying to convince Sapapple to come to Carolot, or as the alt Twilight called it, the land of the yuppies. She shook her head, stopped her hoofs, refused to budge on the issue, highlighting the fact that it was Carolot citizens that abandoned her as a baby, and she was a proud Earth pony. It had taken roughly 16 hours, but they had managed to wear down her defenses, thus to have her give up and do what they wanted. Just like all good heroes do, Sapapple, being promised that she would spend most of her time with the Bureau with Twycor and Twilight, upon his claims that she should be allowed on the cool adventure, relented and allowed the group to finally make their way towards Camelot. Of course, agreeing wholeheartedly were two different things. So wait, Twilight said from her perch on Colson's back. Who's being undressed? Sapapple sighed. Oppress, not undress, it's me. Twilight grinned. Good! I wouldn't want some strange pony telling me to undress. Shani already told me what I should do if someone tries to undress me. Twilight cut her forelegs over her mouth and screamed, I need an adult! I need an adult!
No one makes a joke, Spike said sternly, wagging his finger at the others. I am sick of hearing it.
The point, Sapapple stated, is that them damn unicorns have set up their system of government to oppress all us hard-working ponies. What we're shown is that the equestrian dream, and we told we need to strive toward it, but then we ain't given them what we need to achieve it. So we end up going to death, or working ourselves to death just to get a bit closer, while those fat cats at Carolot wipe their dang mouths around blood money. Skulu tilted her head. You like to sample the hard cider when they make it, don't you? Sample said, waving her off. That wasn't an answer. The horse really shook her head. This is giving me a headache. You ever wonder what the rest of the girls are doing right now? Spike asked. It is a strange statement you make. What do you mean, let the baby drink? Spike shrugged, kicking out a stone in the middle of the road. Well, we didn't really bother to explain to anyone what happened in the library. What do you think everybody in Ponyville's doing right now? Please have your thoughts spit it out while you meet with the judges. Mrs. Cake called out to the line of ponies, destined for Rarity's Boutique, all the way to Quills and Sofas. Famous original Quills and Sofas. Not to be confused with original famous Quills and Sofas. If you have prompts, please list them all in the back of your application. Next! Rainbow Dash called out, tapping her pencil against the folding table she, Rarity, and Pinkie Pie were sitting behind. All right, tell us your name and why you should be the new Twilight Sparkle. Derpy grinned and held up a purple painted Dinky up. Because I already have a spike. Dinky nodded. I don't like names in bed. Stop right there, Pansy said, placing a furlike on her head. No one can replace dear Spike Dragonstone. He was one of a kind, and I mourn for him every day. Faraday pulled out a photo of Spike and began to call. Oh, Spike. Oh, Spike. If you were here, the things I would do to you. We need to make out, Piggy said. You know, to honor his memory. But yes, that was a brilliant idea, Piggy! I ain't doubting the validity of this theory. Spike guarded Skulu. Hey, some of us need dreams in order to teach the crippling depression away. Carolot! Twilight called out, standing on Colton's head and pointing forward. Carolot! Skulu exclaimed. Carolot, Sapapple muttered. It's only a model. Royal Guard, Wall Breaker the Fourth said, trying to warn them. Twycora, who had never encountered a strange white stallion before, frowned. Are you found your statement cold, not hot? For being a model, I say it is not. Wallbreaker merely grinned. Well, but we hadn't ripped off Monty Python for a while. When the others stared at Michael, he said, by whipped off, I mean, of course, no one cares! Skulu howled. The guard nodded. Of course, protagonist. Found out to Sapapple, missing Spike before the universal sign for crazy. Commander, I am happy to report that I have done as you commanded. I don't quite know what you're getting at, partner. You know, the new security. Oh! Wallbreaker smacked himself in the forehead. My apologies. I didn't realize the functionality in Catalot was a multi-crossover. Speak in English! Skulu screamed. Does he mean ponies? Whatever! Sergeant, could you please explain yourself? Colson said crisply. Used to dealing with royal guards. The guard frowned.
I thought I had been. The audience seems to be getting what I'm saying, and by audience...
Before Wallbreaker could finish, and before Skulu could attempt to earn her guard-killing cutie mark, they heard a loud pop behind them. Well, Princess Miyamura Cadenza, Cadence to her friends, and Mistress Cadence to her Gibbs. Her what? Giggled and tearing for a moment before righting herself. Teleporting that far really packs a wall up. Sing! Twilight screamed quickly, looking herself at her brother. White Stallion let out an oath when she struck at Philly, clinging to his face. I told you to blow at the library! You had to believe me! Okay, maybe it was my password, but... Stop missing so much! The White Stallion used his magic to peel the Philly from his face, looking at her with a beauteous expression. Okay, this is seriously weird. Tell us about it, Spike said dryly. Case, having regained her balance, skipped over to Twicora and looked her over. She pressed her face against the zebra string at her side, looking at her cut with a critical eye. Ew, stripy. I would think this is the perfect place to teach you a bit about personal space, Twicora said, pushing Cadence away. Just like them no good horned ponies to be sticking their noses where they don't belong, Samuel complained. Cadence bobbed her head. Yeah, I'm super horny. This one time at band camp. Cadence, Sally said sweetly, trying to cover her ears. Fools are present. That's what my guidance counselor said at band camp after I. Cadence, question, Sally said with a smile, kissing her cheek. If ponies can get past things, can they get futured? I don't know. Cadence sat down and began to contemplate the philosophical question. He took close glance at the princess and then sighing. I see things that have changed. Why is she like that? Skulu asked. Concerned. And the leg, the real one. Not the one where you almost married that bug pony. Actually, changelings are quite bugs, but rather shining paws. Never mind. You were saying? At your wedding, she didn't act like this, Skulu said. Spike rubbed his chin. I've been meaning to ask you that. When were the King Mercoserians the Flower Billies? You and the princess haven't met them until that afternoon. Well, 4 years earlier. Hello? Cadence called out, walking into the kitchen of a very nice house in Caroline Corners. A subdivision of Caroline, of course. Any pony home? Hello there, princess, a stallion said, emerging from his hiding spot. I'm Chris Handsome. Have a seat. Okay, Cadence said, confused. Can you tell me why you're here, Princess Cadence? I'm here to watch a filly. Is she here? Do you often watch fillies? About 3 or 4 times a week. Chris shook his head before firing another question at her. And are their parents around when you watch them? No, of course not. That wouldn't make any sense. And is it true that you rub their butts against theirs? Well, of course. Wait, how did you find about that? That's a secret dance between me and the foals. Do you get in bed with the foals, princess? Only if they are fuss. Oh! Two guards hurried in and began to restrain the pink alicorn. Stop that! You make me sick, pervert! Chris snapped his keys and was led away. Eventually, we explained to the judge that it was all big misunderstanding, but most families in Kerala are still leery of her. Twilight, who was still hanging in the air, looked at her brother. Then Cadence, then sang again. You and Miss Cadence? The filly's face screwed up in disgust. You! It is clear that what you lack is a good dose of simple tact, Tricora stated. But she's like 1 billion years old. She can be your mom, Twilight screamed. Ew! Please don't equate Cadence with mom, Shine said in annoyance. Because it's disgusting? Spike asked. Because it might give Cadence ideas. Ugh, Shine said with a sharp. Looked at Tricora and Sap Apple, examining the two. I'll say it again. This is really weird. I feel the same, seeing you as captain here. You are so different from my brother, dear. What does your shining armor do? Coulson asked. If you do not listen, that is clear. I told you already. He is a deer. She pulled out a photo from her robes. The others craning their necks to stare at a photo of young Twicora, sand stripes, standing next to a shining armor, who had shaved his mane off. cut his tail very short, and wore a pair of antlers on his head. He needs them when he helps the poor, for he is a leading member of the Peace Corps. Apple looked over Shiny with a critical eye. It was clear she found the stallion lacking. So, I guess there'll be one of you amalgamates or something? Scout scoffed. Just you be thinking one of us be kin or anything, stranger. You and your kind abandoned me. My family be the apples. Wait, Scootaloo said, holding up a hoof. If the apples raised you, that means they're your family, right? Brothers and sisters? That's right, Apple said proudly. So, Big Mac is your brother, and you married him? Ew! Squally screamed, cover your ears. Why all these dimensions yucky? Apple huffed. We ain't related. It ain't weird.
Witchcraft, Wellbringer said. What? The guard blinked. Oh, I wasn't talking about that.
He gestured towards Caroline. The group was letting out gas when they saw a pillar of energy shoot into the sky.
I was talking about that. How does Sparkle seems to be something in war games, aren't they?
War games? Spike asked. Captain Sparkle. Coulson said, oh! Twilight said glee, pumping her foreleg up and down. Now that's gonna be a cool meeting. Shiny took a step forward, eyes narrowed.
I'm guessing you know what's going on?
Garrus nodded. I received a message from one of the guards this morning that my sister had suddenly appeared in the barracks wearing full armor, claiming that she was in charge, demanding that every pony get going for the planned war games. He lowered Twilight onto his back, Billy hugging him tightly. I see things are more complex than Canes and I were led to believe. Coulson pressed his lips in thought.
Very much so. Come on. We'll fill you in on the way.
Wait! Canes shouted. They all turned to her and smiled. You can't get futured, but you can get presents. She grinned, looking at the others one at a time. Can it?
Believe me, this is better than her being on her meds. Shiny stated as they traced towards the city.
Oh. Should have used that for as okay as her fall. Oh well.